We do it in our treatment programs, and we do it in our housing programs, and the result is massive contemporary homelessness throughout the United States.
And in an ideal world, what do you want to see happen today?
That everybody has a human right to housing, education, and health care. Those are all things that benefit all of us. We do $200 billion a year subsidizing housing for homeowners through the mortgage interest deduction programs. Well, let's do the same for people that are renters.
And if this does get overturned, I mean, what types of effects could we really be seeing on the streets here?
It'll be the same game that we've been playing for 40 years. It'll just be even more brutal. Because now the pretense of having a place for people to go is removed from the equation. But people will continue to be unhoused, people will continue to sleep, and the cycle will just keep going until we actually address the cause. You have a cancer, address the cancer. Don't put Band-Aids over the sore that it shows up on your arm.
And the cause meaning?
Lack of a place to live. Housing, nothing ends homelessness like a home. It's about time we woke up and realized that it may be a very simple statement, but it's also very true.
So you want to see more of that affordable housing?
I want to see us decommodify housing and say that everybody deserves a decent place to live, like we did in 1937 when we created the Public Housing Administration that we call HUD today. You know, people need a place to live in a civilized society that's not asking too goddamn much. Hey, Bob. Yeah, I talked to somebody earlier.
Yeah, how are you?
All right, cool.
Hey, so we're basically assigning you guys today. So a few questions like.
Well, we were expecting like 100 is what we thought. We got a lot of buzz over the weekend, so I'm not sure, but we were thinking around 100.
Okay, right on. And then you're going to march down to City Hall, right?
Yeah, there's a short stop at the State Building,
Talk about.
and then over to City Hall. Yeah.
So which way do you think you take a pole?
We always go in the flow of the traffic.
Okay, cool.
So we're walking up against the car, so don't worry.
All right, so what time do you think you'll do that at?
We'll probably get started. It's a 10 o'clock rally, so it'll probably start around 10:30.
Yes.
I was like, well, I'll answer the question.
Because people end up out the street anyway, so we just want to make sure it's safe for the over the weekend, we actually did an alternate route. We were originally cycling, but then we said, well, if this happens, then we need to do this.
And this is your cell phone?
Yeah, exactly. And you about 11, 15. Is there a number I should call, or you'll find me?
I can find you. Yeah. We'll be right here. And yeah, if you need to see you, we'll be over the edge. Do you expect me to be basically?
We've had hundreds of rallies over the years from the Homeless Coalition. Every freaking time.
Okay,
Because you got kids, you got family, and it's just every single time we've never had, and we have people with these and different vests on, and they'll make sure people stay in their lane. And if we get the street because of the capacity, then we'll only do that one section and we block all the traffic. We really try not to be fucking stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like cars are. Thanks, you guys. Whether or not it's okay for local communities to continue to criminalize people that have nowhere else to go for the act of sleeping.
How is that relevant to San Francisco, even though there's Supreme Court cases?
It's relevant across the country because this is happening across the country. And it should be relevant to all people because homeless people aren't the first targets of laws to remove individuals from a community. We have the sit-lie laws to get rid of gay and lesbian people in the Castro. We have sundown towns. We had Antiope laws. We had Jim Crow. We had Basurero Treaty, ugly laws. Local governments have a long history of using specific laws like loitering, sitting, laying down, sleeping in public space, targeted at specific individuals that they want to remove from their community. Grants Pass said so as much in their pleadings. Make them uncomfortable so they'll move on. We need to stop that pattern of practice, and we need to stop it today.
And my last question is, what do you worry or what are you hoping for depending on the verdict of the Supreme Court hearings?
I'm hopeful that they don't make the situation worse by granting what it is they're being asked to do, and that they shoot it down. And no, because, well, yes and no. I mean, for us, it'll be status quo. So there is no win here for people that are unhoused. There's an attempt to not make it worse. And that's what we're here to fight against.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Allies who are here to speak out against what is happening today, which is a really historic moment. The Supreme Court is going to be hearing the most significant case on homelessness in over 40 years. And today, the Supreme Court is going to be beginning to make a decision on if if people who are unhoused can be criminalized simply for being unhoused. It's very frightening and is another level of taking away rights to some of the most vulnerable people in our society. And we're here as a coalition to speak out and to say that no matter what the Supreme Court decides, unhoused people and allies are going to continue to organize. We're going to continue to stand up for the most vulnerable in our communities, and we're going to work for housing as a human right for everyone. We know that housing is the solution, and criminalizing people and sweeping them from one sidewalk to another is not the solution. It just simply causes more trauma and more pain for some of the most vulnerable people in our community.
And to bring it back to what's happening here in the Bay right now, can you walk me through what's happening across the bridge in Oakland and Mosswood today?
Absolutely. So the city of Oakland sweeps people almost every week. They are sweeping encampments, and this week they're doing a mass sweep at the community of Mosswood Park, which has about 20 to 25 residents, many of them who have been living there for years. And what we know is that the shelter that is currently, that the city is currently obligated to offer is oftentimes extremely inaccessible. It doesn't meet people's basic needs, so it's not a real offer. It's not something that people can actually accept because sometimes you can't take your pets, you can't take your belongings. It's very short term. For example, we have the encampment resolution fund from the state that Governor Newsom has granted multiple times, and the city of Oakland just received more funds. That was used a year ago to sweep the large encampment of Wood Street and to provide shelter for people in these cabins, in this community cabin. More people from that community that were swept have died in the past year than have gotten permanent shelter. Let me say that again. More people in the past year from the Wood Street community have died since that sweep than have gotten permanent housing. So it's really important to understand that sweeps kill, they are harmful, they do not help, and we are asking and calling upon our governments to redirect funds away from policing and away from criminalization and into real solutions, and the real solution is housing and support.
Thank you so much.
Do you mind saying your first and last name?
Sure, my name is Talia Husbands-Hilton. I'm with Love and Justice in the Streets of Oakland, California.
¡El pueblo the poor get poor while the settlers steal more land. I'm going to do that one more time, and everybody join me, relatives, because this is also about lifting up Mama Earth off of this commodification and capitalism. So I'm going to start again. Land back! Black land! Homelessness is a colonizer scam! Oh! That's what I'm talking about, relatives. So I want to welcome all you warriors, all you land liberators, all you House of Scholars who are closest and worship to Mama Earth to celebrate Mama Earth. Today's Earth Day, relatives, right? And who are the people, all of us, who are the closest to Mama Earth, who are the most impacted by Mama Earth's destruction and by the continued extraction of government banksters and systems like the one we're standing in front of. So let's not get it twisted. We are not only lifting up this brutal lawsuit, lie suit as I would call it, we are also celebrating our mama. So I'm going to ask you all to join me in a prayer. We are on Ohlone Lishan land, the occupied village of Yelamu. Our relatives have granted me with some protocols so I can offer this, and I do want to say I don't believe in land acknowledgments. I believe in land commitments. So let's get it clear as we start in a good way for this beautiful day. If you can, and only if you can, and kneel down with me on Mama Earth. Otherwise, put your hand toward the direction of Mama Earth. As beautiful as fine. As we all sit and stand and crawl and walk and lay in liberation. If we can close our eyes for a minute, relatives. Gracias, Creador y Creadora, por el día de mi vida. Thank you, Creator, for another day of life. Thank you, Ohlone Lishan relatives who allowed us to even be here, who suffered the first form of removal and targeting and harassment and sweeping called colonization, as we would call gentrification, but are still here. 530, 250, all the Gregorian years that you want to put on it, and are fighting and liberating and never giving up, because no, you can't kill us, colonizer, because we're still here. Aquí estamos y no nos vamos. I want to thank and love and lift up every single warrior who died from the violence of homelessness on these stolen streets. I want to shout out and invite all of you to shout out their names. To Guillermo from the Mission, to Luis Demetrio Bungarapet, to Stephen Taylor, let's keep it coming, relatives, to Papa Bear, to our beautiful sister Lori McElroy, because homelessness kills, so she couldn't even make it to homefulness. To my Mama D, and to all of our warriors who die from the violence of charging for Mama Earth. Calling you all in to walk with us today in this beautiful liberation. I want to thank the warriors who are here today, who never stop fighting, because how can we stop fighting for living? I want to thank all of the advocates and the accomplishments who are housed, but know that housing is a human right, and that Mama Earth is not for sale. I want to thank you all for walking and standing and sitting and crawling with us. I want to lift up our animas, our orishas, our beautiful spirit, our great spirit, and all the warriors who walk in the spirit world to walk with us today. And above all, I want to apologize to Mama Earth on Mama Earth Day for all the violence and brutality of extraction and removal that this system has put on your beautiful shoulders. And I want to thank you from all of us for holding us, for lifting us up, and for loving us. For without whom, there would be no we. Oh, my God. I'm going to say it to you all, relatives. I'm going to say Mama Earth, and then I'm going to ask you to answer back, is not for sale. Mama Earth! Mama Earth! Mama Earth! That's what I'm talking about. We can do this, family. We can lift her off this commodification. We are here to walk in spirit and love. We welcome you all to be here. For those of you who don't know, I'm a poverty scholar, that houseless mama, that houseless daughter. All those people they don't want to see, never want to be and look away from we. What you going to do? Oakland, Berkeley, Frisco, LA, Yalamu, Lenape, arrest we? We're in your city. I just want to say that I normally rock my jailhouse attire because me and my pole mama did jail time for the poverty crime of being unhoused in this occupied indigenous holler. That's Frisco, Berkeley, Oakland, LA, and it continues and continues to this day. I don't have to tell any of you badass warriors who are fighting every day. I want to shout out to Wood Street Combat! I want to shout out to Sacramento Homeless Union! Homelessness! Poor People's Army, Poor People's Campaign! I want to shout out to all the badass warriors and liberators. Where do we go? Believe me, I'll be shouting you out again if I haven't got that shout out. Believe me, relatives. And then finally, before I pass this off to a badass warrior who's going to start teaching us a little bit about this lie suit, can we lift up Free Palestine? One more time, Free Palestine! Let's not get it twisted. As we lift up our genocide in these occupied lands across Mama Earth, we are connecting it to the genocide that us poor people feel here every fucking day. So, this is badass. You are badass, and let's get the badass warrior, Mr. F.U. himself.
So today we celebrate, and we don't celebrate just here in San Francisco. There's 23, count them, at least 23 of these actions that are happening today across the country. And even in LA, they were camping out at the Federal Building last night. We are getting stronger. We are uniting our communities because, like was just said, this is a human rights issue. We, after 40 years of fucking homelessness that was created systemically, which has been proven over and over and over again, you wipe out affordable housing funding, you eliminate 500,000 units of public housing, you gentrify the fuck out of our communities with business improvement districts, you're gonna have people living in your fucking streets whether you like it or not. And we are not gonna disappear and cease to exist. We're gonna fight you the fuck back. Because that's what counts. Lord knows, all of us know, we get our asses kicked sometimes. That's never deterred us before, and it ain't gonna deter us today. Because if anybody thinks this Dred Scott supporting Supreme Court is gonna stand up for our human rights, wake up. We gotta change this system. Antioquia laws, sundown towns, ugly laws, Basurero treaties. All of these laws have existed for years. It's the names of the programs that they implement that changes. But arresting and criminalizing people for standing still, for sitting down, for being present in a local community is what we finally got to get to the point of power to change. Because they can call it a sweep today, they can call it a sundown town tomorrow, and we're still gonna be here, and we're still gonna be building power, and we ain't gonna stop fighting this shit till we get the human rights we deserve. Dignity and respect. Dignity and respect. That's not too much to ask, and then we're sick of asking, now we're demanding. We want dignity and fucking respect because we deserve it. Thank you.
Dignity. That's basic, right? Isn't that basic? But somehow our houseless bodies are never seen as human. Right? I want to really lift that piece up. Otherwise, how could they sweep us like we were trash? That's right. Last time I checked, None of my houseless relatives are trash. None of us are a paper cup. None of us are a styrofoam container. We are alive and we were human and we were fighting. So again, I want to, as we kind of move through this beautiful day, I want to just lift up a little bit about the route because we're not going yet, but just so people know, we're going to hit all these so-called government gangster buildings. We're starting at the federal building, which Paul has a different term for it. Calls it the fucking federal building, which I think is a really important term to lift up. Then we're going to go to the state building, where we know that the continuation of these anti-poor people laws continue to get rained down on our head. And we're going to hear from more beautiful speakers there. And then we're going to be ending up at Chitty Hall, yes I did say, where we know that in this politrickster-run town, our bodies are continually swept like we are trash. And God forbid if you sit down while houseless in this town. God forbid if you even try to be comfortable. So having said that sorrowful situation, I want to spend a minute talking about liberation. Homefulness, a homeless people's solution to homelessness. Launched by me and Ma, we were sleeping in the backseat of a car, a hoopty, a doorway, a bus bench if we were lucky, and sometimes a motel room. Dreamed that there is a solution that we can create for self. And I want to lift up that solution today because I am blessed to be joined by some powerful warrior, land liberators, houseless folks who are now home full. Not because of a government gangster grant, not because of a non-profiteer's project that ends, not because of a jail-like room that has never been housing, but because we as poor people created, designed, and worked really hard to make it possible. So you are looking at some badass warriors. Some of the Poor Magazine family here, there's many more where us came from. We just had our 20th resident move in last week. 20 houseless families. Listen up, guys. In rent-free, yes, I did say, because we're not fucked with by the lie of rent, which is one of the original lies. Rent-free forever housing. So I'm going to ask Sister Leger, who's one of the recent residents, also a warrior with Wood Street Commons, and then we'll hear from more folks.
Ashe. I just want to give a moment. Last night, I found out that a dear friend, Corey, was found in his tent, dead at Mosswood Park, and he was very dear and near to me. So, Ibaye, Corey. My name is Leger Harper. I was unhoused on Wood Street for 10 years. I'm one of the resident leaders, and I'm currently housed now at Homefulness, Poor Magazine. But why is it that we deal with societal issues with criminalization, incarceration, violence, and genocide? When a plant is dying in our garden, right, we feed them water, we nurture them back to health. But when we have people in our community that are struggling, we sweep, isolate, and lock them up. Right. Permanent community housing solutions like Homefulness, like Wood Street Commons, is what is already being done. So stop wasting money on these trial and fails. When you have the answer within organizations, and the solution is right here. And also, I just want to say that the solution to mental health issues is not through incarceration. And the solution to homelessness is not a quick fix. Liberating Mama Earth is where we start. Asheo.
Hello everyone, and thank you for hearing me speak. My name is Angel Hart, and I'm a formerly houseless poverty scholar and current Homefulness resident. And I just want to thank everyone who's working to support our houseless relatives, I was the 16th resident that moved into homefulness, and the only thing that I can say about having not just somewhere to stay, but having community is that it's allowed me the opportunity to heal, because the violence of poverty has brought so much sickness into my body, and I was so busy trying to hustle to stay alive to take care of my baby that I didn't have time to heal, and now I have that. And so for homefulness, I'm so very grateful. Thank you.
Broken Cloud.
Broken Cloud here. 25 years ago, I became homeless, and I lived like my ancestors. The culture was hard, and in this Western civilization, which is on check right now, we have to work with all avenues, and we need masses in order to move all forward with this idealism of rent economics. And Alcatraz was one of our first homelands. We had to occupy. Now it's a tourist attraction ready to set up for tall buildings. Again, we have to wonder where we're going. We're bringing our much-read four-legged animals in that climb trees and eat tea leaves. And here we are, we're dying on the street. I grew old here 70 years ago. I was born in this city, and it's changed quite a bit. And I've changed quite a bit. I learned how my ancestors lived was one of the main things. But becoming with homefulness, meeting them 25 years ago, moving in 2 years ago, was something of a reward for me. And it's something to work with the way I've been, the way I'm going. And I look at my ancestors as they lead me to speak on these things. You know, I wish masses, we need masses, many more masses to defend our rights of ways as humans.
My name is Mike, formerly unhoused, now living at Homefulness. Thank you.
Yes, thank you to all the relatives who made it out to support. One of the things, the Jonathan from Rap, and we're talking about all the motherfucking money that they spend on the sweeps, on power washing us. They never bring no housing, on criminalizing all the millions of dollars that these politicians pocket by sweeping us, by displacing us from our communities. These are not encampments, these are communities. These are communities and villages. I want to bring the greatness of all these great builders that are found in these villages, in these communities, who build something out of nothing just to have cities come and destroy our communities and villages. And again, thank you, Rap, thank you all the folks who are who are also investigating where all the funds are going. Who's pocketing that money? Are all the sweeps are power washing our people?
And you'll get some, that's prayer and some poesia from all of us later. But I want to lift up again. Can I get a witness? Mama Earth! It's not for sale! Okay, again, it's not an accident that we're in front of the federal fucking building who stole this land from our First Nations relatives. So I want to lift up that for all of the beautiful warriors who made today possible. It's a really big deal for a homeless people solution to homelessness to even be included in this action today. Oftentimes in a lot of movements, solutions are not lifted up. So I want to thank you, relatives, for inviting us in. It is possible for us to create our own, but let's also not get it twisted. Wood Street Commons was a solution. Edna Street down in LA was a solution. Camp Resolution is a solution. But these tricksters and these land stealers, not not founding fathers' relatives, stealing fathers, turned Mama Earth into a commodity. And so as we celebrate Mama Earth and we celebrate human rights and dignity of housing, let's make sure that we're also celebrating land returned, land back, and the original wishes of Mama Earth, like my sister Karina says from Sagarte Land Trust. We didn't even have homelessness in our tribal nation. There was no such thing. So let's all say, land back! Black land! Homelessness is a colonizer scam. Let's bring up Laura Guzman, who's a badass warrior for truth every day!
Good morning. It's quite hard to follow Tiny and the folks from Hopefulness. Thank you, all of you. I've been invited and I'm very honored. Buenos dias. I'm Laura Guzman. I'm the executive director of the National Harm Reduction Coalition. And NHRC stands in deep solidarity with RAP, Coalition Lawyers Committee, Hopefulness, and all the organizations and communities across the country fighting back for the rights of unhoused people. We also stand in solidarity with Gaza and with the liberation of all people everywhere. Because I want to say it's all about the land, folks. We have been duped to believe that this is about policies and reforming policies, and if you do this, and if you do a homeless plan, and if you actually don't talk about harm reduction, and maybe we don't do safe consumption sites, people will be safe. Guess what? This is all fucking intentional. I've been asked today to thread a little bit, and I think this is the beginning of a big mass movement, because the destiny of our people who are unhoused, poor people who have been impacted by drug use and criminalized for fucking centuries, is all connected. And one thing I love to share is that in California, we've been polling for the last 3 years people who attend syringe service programs, which are now added to the list of solutions that are not solutions. 70% of people who go to syringe service programs in California meet the definition of houselessness according to the federal government. That means that if you target unhoused people and if you target poor people who use drugs, you're targeting our gente, period. So it's not coincidence that the Grand Pass stupid appeal happened in Oregon, because Oregon just recriminalized the possession of any drugs, which was decriminalized a year ago. And so you ask yourselves, why does Oregon, why does San Francisco, why does Philadelphia, why does California, I can keep going on, is now having a massive attack on the fate of people who are on the streets, who are suffering, not as a result of fentanyl, but as the violence of a system they do not want to build for the safety of our folks. So we have to be very clear that we connect the dots. I also want to say that what we're seeing, which was mentioned already by one of the sisters, the dichotomy now is you either get into shelter or you go to jail. You either go into treatment or you go to jail. That is a fucking false dichotomy. And the reason is, that is just plain harmful. That is challenging our ability of our people to exist, to survive, to actually stay alive. Did you know there is the chance that when people go to jail, they have 27 times more likelihood to come out and die of an overdose? So we need to start again joining our efforts, because permanent solutions like housing is harm reduction. Harm reduction is public health. Housing and harm reduction is public safety, the safety of our people. So to close, again, thank you for joining us. Let's bring more people. Let's bring the people most impacted to the table, because that's the way that we're going to moving forward. We need to build a big-ass movement, you guys, because there is no policy reform possible. So shout out with me. Housing, not handcuffs. Care, not handcuffs. Support, don't punish. Apoye, no castigue. Hasta la victoria siempre. Thank you.
Do you see us houseless mamas and daughters sleeping in a tent? I said, Paula Trickster, do you see us houseless mamas and daughters sleeping in a tent? Yeah! That's because we don't got money for the rent. So let's get something real clear, relatives. Unfortunately, we live in a capitalist system that puts a price on Mama Earth's head. So I also want to lift up a conversation about self-determination. I want to name something as we're standing here, which is complicated for us poor people, for real. That we also could not have bought and then unsold, which is what we're doing spiritually and legally, this small part of Mama Earth in Deep East Uchin with First Nations guidance, thank you relatives, Oloni Lashawn, without folks with race and class privilege radically redistributing to poor people who have nothing. I want to name that here, even though we're in front of the government gangster building that has put a price on Mama Earth's head, because we're not about bullshit, are we, relatives? And when poor people squat, the pigs come. And when me and Mama used to hide in the corner of empty buildings, we were thrown in jail. So I want to also lift up that we love all the relatives who are squatting, because this is not a commodity. But I also want to lift up to all the folks who might have more than they need to take care of themselves and their families. To radically redistribute those blood-stained into love-stained dollars so that poor people like Wood Street Commons, like Etna Street, like Camp Resolution can buy this stolen Mama Earth and unsell her. And as you might see on our sweatshirts, our hoodies, we sell, unsell, and unsettle Mama Earth. Because liberation is complicated as fuck in a capitalist system. And so we fight and we build. So I want to lift that up, and I want to just drop this small piece on you. Change won't come from a savior, a pimp, or an institution. Change only comes from a poor people-led revolution! So let's say it one more time before we lift up our brothers and sisters. I know that there's a badass warrior who's speaking for our relatives in the Philippines. I want to say that again, as we're on stolen and occupied Mama Earth here in Ilamu, aka what the colonizers call San Francisco, when we're in occupied Uchun, aka what the colonizers call Oakland, when we're in Tonganga, what the colonizers call LA, Maidu territory, what the colonizers call Sacramento, I want to say that we have actually built and are creating these solutions already. And when I say that, I mean that the very things that Leger was saying was happening at Wood Street. So we were already walking with folks and providing healing and a free store and food, right? Because again, poor people have our own solutions, do we not, relatives? It's just they don't listen to us! Because they make more money incarcerating us than ever housing us. Let's not get that twisted. So, having said that, let's do another one for Free Palestine! How about Free Sudan? probably so many other sites of Mama Earth that have been colonized, removed, and destroyed.
Puerto Rico.
That's right. Mama's land, Puerto Rico, free, free Puerto Rico! So, having said that, are our relatives from Malaya ready for... Come on up, sister. Let's give a big round of applause!
First and foremost, thank you to RAP, the Coalition on Homelessness, Love It, Justice in the Streets, and all the other groups who make today's action happen. Round of applause. Malaya Movement San Francisco doesn't take the invitation to speak lightly. We know the ever worsening economic crisis in the United States is a direct result of the government's prioritization of the militarization overseas. The U.S. has had its claws in the Philippines and its people for well over a century. Our resource-rich lands and supposed cheap labor make for high profits. Of course, the Filipino people never see this wealth. Instead, the people are subjected to a variety of hostilities. Counterinsurgency measures, for example, have intensified grossly. This can only be made possible with the funding of U.S. tax dollars and different policies that bind the Philippines to the United States. Philippine paramilitary forces learn the violence they inflict on the Filipino people by the teachings of this country. But it is the bombs that flatten indigenous lands and the bullets that pierce through the bodies of people advocating for their rights. Those are paid for by our hard-earned dollars. President Joe Biden would rather funnel money into terrorizing people overseas than ensuring the people in this country have their basic needs met. Education, healthcare, and of course, housing. The Philippines is not an isolated occurrence, especially as we have witnessed the ongoing genocide in Palestine continue and heightened by the genocidal Israeli state, which is financed by the United States. Our own Mayor London Breed has shown where her priorities lie with last year's APEC summit held in downtown San Francisco. A massive economic summit that Breed saw as an opportunity to use for her own interests. In preparation for the summit, Breed conducted mass sweeps in the downtown, pushing people far away from the summit. Breed is clearly more concerned with how the city looks to dictators than actually caring for the people in this town. The movement for a just and democratic Philippines is not separate from the local issues we see in our communities. I am proud to be the co-lead for Malaya Movement San Francisco, but I'm also the member organizer for RAP. Our struggles are linked and will always be a marker for the people's will to unite amongst one another in the face of any and all forms of oppression. Long live international solidarity! International solidarity! Long live international solidarity! Long live international solidarity! Long live international solidarity! Thank you. Twisted relatives, we have to name another perp. Let's have a short conversation about AKKdemia. Shout out to all our relatives who are taking back those occupied lands, known as the university property, fighting for a free Palestine. But I want to lift up that our beautiful brother is here from People's Park, and we're going to hear from him in some of our next stops, because it's really important to understand that these institutions as well as these systems continue to incarcerate every poor person they get. So can we say Free People's Park? Free People's Park! Oh, I'm a down.
All right, everyone, my name's Jenny. I'm from the Coalition on Homelessness, and we're here today. All right, we're here today. We're joining, as you know, 23 other cities all across the country that are paying close attention to this Supreme Court. Why? Because this Supreme Court is going to decide, this is just so fucked up. The Supreme Court is deciding whether it's okay to arrest people for being poor and homeless. That is so wrong. And we're here fighting. We are fighting to get people off the streets, to into safe and dignified housing. We are fighting for homeless people to have self-determination. We are fighting for solutions. And alongside that, we want to make sure while people are stuck on the streets, that their human rights are respected. Right? So first up, I've got a speaker who is someone I really admire. Who's the Deputy Director of the Anti-Police Terror Project, James Birch. I saw him earlier. Where are you at? James Birch in the house. I saw you. All right, there you are. Okay, so this is someone who is so amazing, has such an amazing voice. We are just absolutely blessed. And I'm going to hold the microphone for you if you'd like. No? All right, you got it.
Thank you, everyone. It's so good to see all of your faces. My name is James Birch. I'm the Deputy Director of the Anti-Police Terror Project. In the last several years, it's become painfully clear that the state is attempting to execute a major shift in the way it approaches the housing crisis that it created. Because while the state has always been designed to enrich the haves and enslave the have-nots, the state has been ramping up the pressure recently. So in response, it's time for us to get educated and to get active. It's important that we are all clear how the crisis was created, where we are now, and what is to come. As for how the crisis is created, that's simple. America is a nation built to extract resources. And so this stolen land that we stand on is priced out per square foot and sold to the highest bidder. And after centuries of squeezing every penny out of the land, after maximizing the extraction of labor, after spending trillions and participating in indiscriminate killings across the globe to ensure economic interests, the U.S. finds itself an imperial warlord who has run out of land and people to exploit. And so, its own people continue to be displaced by the thousands, with millions more on the brink of homelessness every day. That's how we got here. And despite the stories they love to tell us about how invested they are in addressing houselessness, the nonprofits they give contracts to only serve to further perpetuate the cycle of violence.
Say that! Right.
Because these nonprofits, no matter how benign, cannot solve the primary problem. The problem that the state is unwilling. The state is unwilling to invest in permanent supportive housing.
Right.
Think about it. Do capitalists want to create a system that devalues their investments? No. No, they do not. They want unhoused people out of sight and out of mind so the affluent residents can spend their money comfortably without any knowledge of the systemic violence that is occurring. And so that is... So when we see the Supreme Court come together, as Paul said earlier, what are we expecting? I'm expecting a shitty ruling. I'm expecting a ruling that allows sweeps to resume at a level we haven't seen for years. I don't know how many of you were on the streets in 2015, 2016, where sweeps were running day in and day out, but we are expecting that moment to come back, especially in areas that don't have case law to protect them. And so what do I ask of you all, and of the Bay Area as a whole? I ask you to help us fight back against the sweeps. I ask you to help us fight back against the sweeps. Help us first and foremost by supporting residents before and when sweeps are happening. But also help us with mutual aid on social media and in the press, and help us expose these city officials and nonprofits who propagate this violence. We need to expose the city officials and nonprofits who propagate this violence. As long as people can be progressive in name only, can claim that they support the unhoused while doing none of the real work, they'll continue to do so. There are millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars that flow through that building and buildings like it across the Bay Area, and that money goes to do nothing. to do nothing. It goes to enrich multi-million-dollar nonprofits with fat cat CEOs who have no interest in solving the problem. Because if they solve the problem, all their jobs go away. If they solve the problem, all their jobs go away. Right? Again, we live in a time where we've run out of public land. It's been sold off to the highest bidder. So the city councils and county supervisors are faced with a contradiction. What to do when it comes to bear that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people that need housing. And it needs to be us, and we need to be in the streets, and we need to be calling them out, or they will continue to get away with the same bullshit that they've been feeding us for decades. We're arriving at the precipice, my friends. We're arriving at the precipice. And what I mean by that is that shit is gonna get real in a minute. Right? It's gonna get real in a minute. So we need everybody evaluating how they're gonna show up. Right? And we need a gang more people than we got here today. We need a gang more people than we got here today. Hey, give it up for yourselves if you can bring more people to the next gathering. Right? Because we need these types of numbers at every single sweep, every single time to shut that shit down. To shut that shit down. Again, my name is James Birch. I'm with the Anti-Police Terror Project. We'll be there alongside you. We need y'all to fight like hell with us, and we're excited to do so. Thank you.
So next up, we got another very special speaker. I just love hearing James Birch speak. That was amazing. Next up, we have Jazz Cottamore, who's from Mission Defense, and she's a directly impacted community member who is fighting back against police terror and holds space for grief, community, and action. Let's give her a round of applause. Jazz, come on up. Jazz in the house.
Hello everyone. I just want to say thank you to my family, Poor Magazine, for all the folks that are out here. I didn't have anything prepared today. I'm just really just a community member. I've been displaced. I've been unhoused out here. My family was displaced here from San Francisco, and so we've seen all the different changes. Someone mentioned who was out here in 2015. We've seen how it's been. You know, I just want to start off first by thanking Mother Earth. In Quechua we say Kulpaiki Pachamama, so thank you Mama Earth. If everyone could just thank Mama Earth starting off. I'm thinking a lot about that as like today they were fumigating where I'm staying right now, and all this shit going on, you know, probably have to go later to work to just be able to have food for this week, right? And I'm just thinking about, you know, when you go to these events, sometimes you're the person that is supporting, and sometimes you're the person that is actually dealing with these things. And I'm like, damn, I'm actually the person dealing with these things at most of these things. So, yeah, it's real. And the only solution is community. Almost everything I have on is because of community. You know, the reason I'm here, the reason I had some snacks today was because of community. So at the end of the day, I'm anti all this shit, anti the fucking government, all these policies, all that. That shit's never helped anybody, to be honest with you. But I appreciate all the support of everyone. I'm just being real because I know we like to do the happy, the cheers, but it's fucking real. And we lost a couple neighbors and elders this year in the mission community. And I really feel like it's the blood is on all these people's hands. And so I want to uplift those names, those ancestors, one of them being Guillermo, another Luis Gongora Pat, which was a few years back. We also have another elder. I'm missing some names maybe, but we just, Luis Timaj. So I know his sister. I was able to meet her through what was going on, and she told me like when you meet these people, they've already been through the ringer. Like all these nonprofits that try to come to them, to poverty pimp them, to tell them, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. They ain't done shit. So we held space with Luis Timaj and his family, and we've been able to, if anyone knows anywhere that could get a mural done, they're looking for that to honor Luis. But he was set on fire, trigger warning, sorry. He was set on fire by somebody. Some fucking person that just decided that, oh, this person's life doesn't mean nothing. But I just want to uplift that his life meant everything. He has a family that loves him. They're still seeking justice, whatever that looks like for them. But I want to uplift Luis. I want to uplift Guillermo, all these elders we've lost because of this fact that not just the system, y'all, but people that are out here that really believe that somebody in a tent is gonna fuck up your life somehow, or somehow that they're an issue. So if you just see, not even just the city, but if you see people fucking with people, stop. Stop and whatever you gotta do, because that's what we're gonna need is all of us looking out for each other out here. So if you guys see me out there, tell me hi, and I'll tell you guys hi back, and let's continue to organize and, like the brother said, show up in numbers. And show up at these sweeps. Follow Mission Defense. We're gonna be posting stuff. And really we're just community members that are literally got tired of fucking seeing all the bullshit nonprofit, all the fucking, neoliberalism and all this stuff. Really, so just tap in. Thank you.
Ooh, let's give it up for Jess! This sister, I'm just gonna say a couple words about Yolanda. She's long time struggle, amazing, has lived through homelessness and a bunch of shit herself, and she's always down for the fight. Yeah. So always looking out for other unhoused people. Yolanda in the house!
And I wrote this poem because I really believe that we have to be housed or live like in wood commons. But this government insists that if you refuse shelter, you're supposed to be jailed, fined, and cited. So this poem addresses that a lot. A gathering of storms. Yes, a gathering of storms, which must pierce people's hearts with an arch of truth, with a bow of strength, power, with an arrow of love, to dissipate the government's efforts of criminalizing the poor. Come long before, war on drugs, war on crime, of forcing them into shelters which some homeless find uncomfortable, which when the homeless refuse result in citations, fines, jail time because you are searched before you're allowed to enter your quote-unquote home. Because there's a curfew hour which you have to be in, which is usually 5 p.m., which unless you have permission, which consists of exceptions to the curfew, being work-related excuse, health-related excuse, funeral. Shelters which for local, state, Trump's government officials invoke image of forced concentration camps, which are not homes, which are not villages, which you don't have a key to, where guests aren't allowed. Divide and conquer tactics, pitting children against the homeless, business owners against those who rob, steal so they don't starve to death. Advocate for the poor if you can. Reward the stamina to survive by listening, by including us in discussions on how we choose to live, where we want to live, like Oakland is daring to do. Came about because of the artist action of the village in East Oakland, of Wood Commons in West Oakland, the former homeless and camping communities. At least 10 dead specifically after eviction of Wood Street Commons because of the garbage, which Wood Commons tried to resolve with the city of Oakland to no avail. Evicted April 10th to May 5th, 2023. and the evictions have continued of those who have refused city-sanctioned shelters. Seize this time, seize the moment to win over the hearts and minds of the American people, through the ballot, through talking with all, including non-citizens, through community actions. Quote, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free. The wretched refuse of our teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempestuous to me. I left my lamp beside the golden door. Emma Lazarus, New York City, 1883, November 2nd. And I just want to add that I dedicate this poem to the memory of 6 workers who perished during recent Baltimore shipwreck. They were immigrants, most of them undocumented. They were from Mexico, Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala. 35-year-old Manolia Arizuado Sandoval, 35-year-old Alejandro Hernandez Fuentes, 26-year-old Doria Castillo Cabrera, 2 of them volunteering CASA and a non-committed immigrant center. And I'd also like to say, Supreme Court, I know that Justice Roberts said on TV when it came to deciding on if Trump would be allowed in the ballot, he said that the Trump followers were angry, and that concerns the Supreme Court. So they voted to allow him in because they're violent. Trump followers are violent. We were to say, like we have in the George Floyd protest, revolution, arm ourselves, they'd arrest us, they jail us, they kill us. So we got to have a double standard under capitalism. Resist, fight, y hasta la victoria siempre. Free Palestine!
All right, y'all, real quick, before we head on to City Hall, I just want to let you know what's happening in San Francisco, because not everyone, some of the folks are from across the Bay. Coalition on Homelessness did sue the city and county of San Francisco because we found that we have evidence that they had 3,000 cases of them citing and arresting people who had no other choice but to be homeless. We gathered a mountain of evidence. We have 13 constitutional claims, and we took it to the city, and the judge looked at it and ended up filing an injunction. What does that mean? Does that mean the sweep stopped? No, they've been sweeping 3 times a day. So, people are still having their property destroyed. People are still getting forcibly removed when they don't have a safe and decent place to call home. And that's not okay. Little funny story before we go to City Hall. This person wrote a story about a SIP hotel in the New York Post, and was talking about how it was so messed up that all these homeless people were trashing the hotel. Turns out the hotel she was writing about was where cops and firemen were staying. Anyway, all right, so let's follow these banners and let's go to City Hall, and we are going to keep fighting for the rights of homeless people. Every single homeless person has a safe and decent place to call home. Y'all down? Yeah! All right, let's go and let's get the chants going.
Thank you for those chants. Thank you all for being here. My name's Javier Ramon. I work with the Coalition on Homelessness. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Please grab a poster if you don't have one. I see a lot of people do. I want to thank David Solon for the wonderful mural that is being made today as we speak. So we were at the Federal Building. We went to the State Building, and here we are in front of City Hall. This Bay Area-wide action is one of many regions that is telling the Supreme Court, we don't care what you think. We know that housing is a human right. So the first speaker I want to bring up is from People's Park. His name is Aiden Hill. They are a passionate advocate for grassroots democracy and social justice in Berkeley, actively involved as a People's Park activist and a volunteer with Food Not Bombs. Aiden is committed. We're good. Aiden is committed to promoting ecological wisdom, community empowerment, and sustainable practices to build a more inclusive and just future. Give it up for Aiden! Where you at?
Thank you. What's up, y'all? Friends, fellow advocates of the Bay Area, as we commemorate Earth Day, a day dedicated to celebrating our planet and campaigning for its well-being, we are reminded of the inextricable relationship between environmental justice and human rights. Just as we work to preserve our planet, we must also protect the rights and dignity of all its residents, particularly the most vulnerable. Thousands of people in Berkeley and throughout the Bay Area are homeless, living without the most fundamental of human needs, a safe environment. Earth Day encourages us to consider both the physical environment, but also the social atmosphere we create. It pushes us to redefine our response to the serious issue of homelessness into something where we can solve through ingenuity, compassion, and community. Coming from Berkeley, a city recognized for its quote-unquote progressive attitude and its academic prowess, I'm here today to address a problem that affects us all. Thousands of people in our community, from Oakland to San Francisco and throughout the Bay Area, are homeless. Even in Berkeley, every single night, approximately 1,000 of our residents are homeless, and even more are sleeping on couches, uncounted and underserved. These are not statistics. These are actual people, neighbors, friends, and community members who have been forced to live on the edges of civilization. This predicament is more than just a housing shortage. It's a significant human rights crisis. Berkeley's People's Park is an example of this challenge. The conflicts that arise from urban growth and public spaces. Since its establishment in 1960, People's Park has been a focal point for the fight for civil rights and free speech. Recent events with UC Berkeley generated a great deal of criticism, however. Under intense police presence, the university started demolishing the park, putting over 160 shipping containers around it. It's a fucking border wall. That day alone was over $8 million. It's about $1 million every month for 24-hour private security. Instead of giving people shelter, they forced our unhoused residents to leave, putting their tents and their belongings 2 blocks away that night. This extreme action was part of a larger development plan, including quote-unquote supportive housing, but not for homeless people, only formerly homeless people. In addition to student housing, but they want to maintain a portion of it as a park, so they say. These efforts have unfairly harmed our homeless community. Over 200 people have forced themselves either away from People's Park to get away from cruelty, or forced themselves into living conditions where they don't feel comfortable. Some of these efforts include eliminating our public restrooms at Willard Park, public showers, and the hiring of street ambassadors to relocate homeless people. Some of us are friends, we don't even know where they are. A bleak image of how homeless people are handled reports the overnight sweeps during which people's personal belongings, including their ID cards and necessary medication like insulin, were confiscated. Additionally, enforcement measures have included impounding street inhabitants' cars, taking away their dogs, imposing stay-away orders for minor offenses like smoking cannabis. This is forcing our friends to take refuge in places where they would otherwise have community. Shameful. The fact that UC Berkeley, a multi-billion-dollar institution, is doing this instead of giving us housing and free rent is shameful. The UC Berkeley has multiple vacant mansions, one primarily known as University House, where they could house students if they so choose. The underutilized real estate could help our housing crisis. This calls attention to a larger problem of resources that could be used for us, the people, especially those without privilege, rather than pursuing laws that are viewed by many as punishment, cruel, and unusual. A new strategy that pushes humanitarian treatment is necessary. People's Park is that strategy. As a community known for its creativity and quote-unquote sanctuary city status, it's intolerable that we disregard the most vulnerable members of our society. We have to shift our thinking, and we have to end homelessness, and that starts by giving every single person a home. It's not complicated. The Bay Area, with its wealth of resources and talent, needs to set an example. We have to eliminate laws criminalizing homelessness. They're ineffective, and they clearly violate our ideas of human rights and fairness. Criminalizing poverty and the socioeconomic conditions that lead to that worsen our dilemma. Instead, we have to provide strong support and compassionate care. We have to use unoccupied mansions and houses throughout the Bay Area as emergency shelters. We have to create sanctuaries where people can live in dignity. When I was vice chair of the city's homeless commission, I was able to pass a resolution called the People's First Sanctuary Encampment Policy. It was basic things: trash removal, getting people into Section 8 housing, providing sanitation and shelter. But it took the death of over 1 million people through the COVID-19 pandemic for our city to give a shit. I do not know why. Our collective demands as a coalition are clear. Stop criminalizing homelessness. Repeal ordinances that penalize people for being on the street. Utilize vacant properties. Provide immediate relief to those in need. Expand social services. Address the underlying causes. That's critical. This entails considerable investments in healthcare, job training, and affordable housing initiatives. The increase of people being unhoused exemplifies a larger problem, that we need collaboration, not incarceration. We must look beyond short-term fixes. We must work towards long-term solutions that respect and uphold dignity for each human. Remember, ultimate measure of society is how we treat those who have the least, not the wealthiest, not the capitalists, not the upper class. It's time for us to expand our traditional technologies and our cultures to affirm human rights for every single person. So from People's Park to Palestine, from Chicago to the Bay, we all deserve a place to live. We all deserve basic human rights, water, clean environments, and community. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for adding to this important conversation. It's time we stand together for dignity and imagine a world in which homelessness is no longer a constant problem, but a task we all have to overcome with community, with kindness, and love for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Aiden. Thank you, People's Park. Okay, one thing that doesn't get talked about when we're having discourse about unhoused folks is the youth. I see some kids here. Shout out to the youth, okay? And to speak to that concept is Karen Adams, who is an organizer, service provider, and has worked in the field of harm reduction in Northern California for over a decade. While frontline work is undoubtedly necessary, Karen also prioritizes her efforts in advocacy around the decriminalization of the poor and addressing systemic inequalities. Karen, come on up to the stage!
Yeah! We're based in the Haight-Ashbury, but we work all over San Francisco. California has the largest number of homeless youth and young adults in the United States. California's homeless youth are also more likely to be unsheltered than in almost any other state. Currently, San Francisco has the capacity to only serve a third of the need for youth accessing shelters. With the Supreme Court hearing the Grants Pass v. Johnson case today, these numbers fucking matter. This year, I've grown tired of participating in appeals and providing explanations to officials as galvanizing forces look to tactically and judiciously criminalize and deprive resources to people experiencing poverty and homelessness. We need to not only maintain funding for homeless services, but also dramatically increase funding to actually better address the issues and provide effective interventions in their truest form. These requests have not been prioritized, and this is completely unacceptable. Today, I do not care to talk to politicians or various city departments. As part of a coalition of many organizations here today, we want to talk to youth experiencing homelessness themselves. We want to talk to the thousands of you that exist here in this city, and we want you to know that you are welcome here in San Francisco. We want you to know that many of us hold your needs as a priority. We want you to know you have thousands of allies here in San Francisco. We want you to know that we understand many of you have no choice but to be out here in the ways that you are. We know many of your acts of survival are carried out due to necessity and situations of crisis. We know many of you have had to make courageous decisions to literally stay alive. We know that some of you are out here because you're trying to figure out how to live life on life's terms. By which honors how you feel, how you succeed, how to know what your purpose is and how to contribute, how to recreate family through community, how to find the wonder, joy, and love that does exist. We know many of your struggles are the result of a flawed and oppressive system. We know your struggles are not the result of a personal failing because of a profound social inequity. We know you are trying, and we know as providers and allies, we need to try harder. We know your options are limited because of the systems of capitalism and white supremacy, which reproduce patriarchy, homophobia, transphobia, and ableism. We want you to know we understand that what surviving looks like can mean many different things, and we're not here to cast judgments, decide what is deviant, what is not, what is allowed in the public sphere and what is not, or embody a semblance of moral superiority. We are not here to criminalize survival. We know despite the struggles, you have a brilliance, beauty, and resilience to offer this city, and that will only make it stronger. We know it's incredibly difficult, if not traumatic, to not have a place to call home. We know the available housing resources in San Francisco are not enough. We know that available housing is often not safe or for the long haul for our youth. We know that housing is often placed in neighborhoods you have identified you do not feel safe. We know that housing does not have enough support and is often designed without your voice at the table. We know there is enough wealth in this city to change all of this and provide housing for everyone. We want you to know we will continue to focus on advocating and providing services through community-based programs rather than imposing criminal sanctions and incarcerations. We know things like Grant Pass v. Johnson, if passed, reproduces homelessness, perpetuates poverty, and widens racial, gender, and health inequalities. Further, we know it attacks the symptoms of homelessness without addressing the underlying social and economic causes. We know you, youth experiencing homelessness, deserve better, and we will keep fighting for the city of San Francisco to do better. We will say this as many times as you need to hear it, and we will stand by this fight. We need you, and we will continue to fight for and with you. We, as providers, allies, and accomplices, will keep training ourselves towards solidarity and not charity. We are no one's savior, and we are a mutual partner in the pursuit of all of our freedom. We keep us safe.
Thank you so much for your words. We're in San Francisco right now, but we're very privileged to have folks from Berkeley show up and represent. And if you know about the sweeps that happened in San Francisco, then you probably know about the Wood Street Commons. So I want to bring up some resident leaders of the Wood Street Commons community from Oakland. Come on up.
First of all, I'd like to say I'm so privileged to stand with you all.
I'm fired up, you fired up! I'm fired up, you fired up! I'm fired up, you fired up!
I'm fired up today, man. I am Lamonte Ford from the Wood Street Commons, currently homeless and being pushed and pulled every single day. Places like this can house individuals at night. Business closes at 5 o'clock, right? This is a huge building. It can house people at night. If they really wanted to solve the problem, you would see people in here. But they don't want to solve the problem. They want to perpetuate the problem. Well, I'm tired of running in circles. I'm tired of the hamster wheel. Sweeps kills. It's killing us. I've lost 5 members so far, 15 altogether. There should be no way at all possible that we leave humanity out of being human. I have a right to exist. However I want to exist, as long as it's not hurt, harming, or hindering no one else, which I try not to. I try my best. But situations like this cause me to get fired up. I would like to call the next Wood Street residents, please. Freeway.
How you guys doing today? My name's Lydia. I'm from the Wood Street Commons. I recently got housed out after being on the street, living in my RV for, I think, 6 years in Oakland. And I used to live 2 blocks from here. This is like old times. We got Jenny with the Coalition on Homelessness here. Let's hear it for the Coalition on Homelessness. I used to edit the street sheet out of the Coalition on Homelessness. And we used to do this thing, an offshoot groups of Homes Not Jails, which I think Paul Bowden started along with the Coalition and a million other amazing organizations. We called our little spin-off group Creative Housing Liberation, and we used to do rallies like this. We would plan for 6 months ahead of time, and we would find a building that was like 2 blocks long and 18 stories high that had been sitting vacant for 20 years, and we would plan about how we were going to open it up and get into the media the census statistics about how there are more empty housing units than homeless people are on the street. Didn't know that there are more empty housing units according to the United States Census than there are homeless people on the streets sleeping in front of them. And we'd have a team go in and open up the building. Of course it was already unlocked, right? We'd have a rally and a march, and it looked a lot like this, and a lot of our people that used to do it with us are here. Let's hear it for Tiny with Core News Network. We've got Boots with Love and Justice on the Streets, who helps us out in Oakland so much. She's amazing. We've got James with APTP, who also does support with sweeps. And we need all of the rest of you out there supporting houseless people during sweeps. And I actually take offense with the term homeless now, because any houseless person has a home, and that's the city where they became houseless. I think we should stop using the word homeless, because every person has a home, and that's the city that they live in. I'd like to introduce the next speaker, Freeway. She's from the Wood Street Commons.
Thank you guys for being here today. I really wish that we didn't have to be here today. In a perfect world, we wouldn't have to be here today. I just want to lift up one more time, as was mentioned earlier, the last person, or the most recent person to die of of completely unnecessary reasons. We are losing so many friends out here. I've lost count. And the fact that these people are dying, waiting for something to happen that should have already happened, it's ridiculous. People are scared to go to the hospital because they're afraid of how they'll be treated. They're scared to go to the doctors because of how they'll be treated or how they'll be judged. Or they go to the hospital, and like my friend Brett that just passed away, they kick him out. He had a blood infection, and they discharged him after 5 days. He made it 3 days on the streets before he died. That's not okay. We are the richest country in the world, and we have people dying in the streets, and it's completely unacceptable. We have people dying because they're not being given the resources that they needed. There's a group of people out here that are overlooked a lot. And I'm really happy to see the people from Harm Reduction Coalition here today. I'm really happy to hear people talking about that, but we don't talk about it enough. There is no reason that people should be overdosing and dying at the rates that we're dying. It's not okay. Every person should be carrying Narcan. Every official should be carrying Narcan. Every security guard, every police officer, and they should be trained properly on how to use it. Fuck urban alchemy. When you have a company that is made off of bullying people that are less fortunate, and they are threatening individuals with Narcan to get them to move out of a spot that they shouldn't have to move out of, that's unacceptable. Narcan is a life-saving tool. It is not a threat. We have a list of demands here. I'm going to read them off. In the practice of sweeping encampments, towing houseless people's vehicles, stealing their belongings, and destroying structures they create to keep themselves and their communities safe from the elements. In the criminalization of houseless people by ending practices of move-along orders, harassment, ticketing, and arresting houseless people for existing outside. Urban alchemy, I'm looking at you. Create and fund actual public health interventions, including harm reduction, sanitation, and others that appropriately respond to the needs of poor and houseless people. Stop kicking people out of jail with no resources. When there is such a high level of people that meet the criteria for opioid addiction in these jails, and you're sending them out into the streets with nothing, with not even a Narcan on their pocket, that is unacceptable.
Only Clipper spikes. Wait. Rich speaking.
Not yet. One mic, Lamont. It's all right.
Create and fund actual public health interventions, I said that. Provide adequate funding for the development and maintenance of housing units and the preservation of existing housing for poor and houseless people. In the practice of banishment policies from yesterday's sundown towns and to today's sweeps. And we need to stop calling these sweeps. Sweeps is what you do to trash. You sweep dirt, you sweep garbage, you don't sweep human beings. All right, who's taking this thing?
Let's give it up one more time for Wood Street Comments. Thank you. Okay, so as you saw it before, Tiny is an excellent dancer, but if you didn't know it, they're also a poet. Give it up for Tiny!
I want to give it up for Wood Street. Wood Street Comments! I want to give it up to Hopefulness! Where do we go? Sacramento Homeless Union, Camp Resolution. We have solutions, relatives. We have solutions. These politicians just aren't listening to us because it's not way to make money to give Mama Earth back to each other. Let's get grounded back in that. So I'm going to ask you again to say, Mama Earth? Okay, when I say Mama Earth, y'all got to say not for sale, right? So we can lift that voice up. Mama Earth! There we go. There we go. Okay. I want to also invite every single one of you all, because this is so beautiful today, this liberation, and I love you all. We're trying to bring a homefulness to occupied Yalamu. And we just found out that all the politicians have somehow figured out new ways to get rid of the money they made on so-called housing solutions. So let's not get it twisted. They're fucking with taxpayers' money, right? Because we could actually buy buildings! Or more importantly, we can take them back. So I want to invite all you to May 7th at 1:30. We're going to be in front of Civic Center Inn with our relatives from Coalition on Homelessness and all the other warriors. It's a vacant and hoarded building that could be housing people right now. So I invite you to come with us, please. That said, there's a lot going on today. Follow us on Instascam, @Poor Magazine, whatever. If you get down with the social media. I want to say one of the other things that we didn't talk about so much today, and so many of our beautiful sisters and brothers are part of, is trying to raise our children while houseless. Can I get a witness for all the mamas, the papas, the uncles, the tias, the tios? When me and my mom were houseless on these occupied Yalamu streets, there was a sweep, and we were separated, and they towed the car that we lived in away, and I ended up in foster care, and my mama ended up essentially in a 5150 hold. That's what this system wants to do to us. Smash and destroy. I say that to say that later on when I started Mama House with many of the warriors who launched Homefulness, Sister Lori, Eva, they gave us a $700 rent increase overnight. I say all that to say eviction kills, gentrification kills, and the selling of Mama Earth kills. So I'm going to give a tribute poem. It's quick. It started from the Welfare Queens. My sister Queen Nandi is here, one of the original warriors with Poor Magazine. And this is our anthem. And this goes out to all the mamas, the poor mamas, the houseless mamas, the incarcerated mamas, the boarded mamas. This poem is in honor of homeless mothers and poor mothers, low-wage mothers and no-wage mothers, migrante mothers and incarcerated mothers, Palestinian mothers and bordered mothers. In other words, this poem is in honor of DH Estwith, CP Estwith, and most of all, System Messed With mothers. This poem is in honor of all those poor women and men, because yes, I said, man, don't sing me that song about gender again, who fight and struggle and steal and beg in every crevice and corner to keep our kids in a bed, who deserve to be coddled and loved and fed and protected instead of criminalized, marginalized, and never respected, who can barely make it, but sometimes do, and still raise all the world's people like me and you and you. Can I get a witness? Who can barely make it, but always do, and still raise all the world's people like me and you and you. Oh, Mateo, love you, everybody. Let's keep it up.
I want to bring up Sam, who is the chairperson of Gabriela Oakland, a militant Filipina women's organization fighting for national democracy in the Philippines. Sam, come on up.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, for the People's Choir, the chant sheets that we handed out a little bit earlier, they have the lyrics, but even if you don't have the lyrics with you on hand, you're just going to repeat after me. So, I'm going to try to pick a tempo that feels good. Say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. From the west west out to the east.
From the west out to the east.
People taken to the streets.
People taken to the streets.
The solution is more homes.
The solution is more homes.
Not another buffer zone.
Not another buffer zone.
Say yeah, yeah, yeah. What we need.
Real answers only.
Good contracts and police.
Good contracts and police.
Cannot meet the people's needs.
Cannot meet the people's needs.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They got money for the wars.
They got money for the war.
But no money for the poor.
But no money for the poor.
The solution they believe is more armed security.
It's more armed security.
Say no, no, no.
Say no, no, no.
No, 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 no.
No, no, no.
No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Say no, no, no.
Say no, no, no.
London breed has got to go.
London breed has got to go.
No more citations and arrests.
No more citations and arrests.
Come on, say it with your chest.
Come on, say it with your chest.
Say no, no, no.
Say no, no, no.
No, 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 no. Protecting private property.
Protecting private property.
Salesforce Towers half empty.
Salesforce Towers half empty.
We're here to let the people know.
Here to let the people know.
Grants Pass has got to go.
Grand Pass has got to go.
Today we must resist. Everybody raise your fist.
Everybody raise your fist.
If we can't afford the rent,
We can't afford the rent.
they shouldn't take our fucking tent.
They shouldn't take our fucking tent.
Say yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're in solidarity.
We're in solidarity.
The people got to be free.
The people have got to be free.
Say yeah, yeah, yeah.
Say yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. El pueblo unido. El pueblo unido. All right, if you're feeling moved, if you're feeling moved, Mike is yours, guys. If you're feeling moved, come up.
Thank you so much. Round of applause. Okay, so that's the end of the program, technically, but by popular demand, we have an open mic, and Robert wants to go first. Robert, what's good? Tell the people what they need to hear.
Okay, all right. My name is Robert Aguirre, and I live in San Jose in the county of Santa Clara. I am a member of the California Homeless Union. Right over here in the camera is the head of the Salinas Homeless Union, and together we're trying to organize all the unhoused people in our respective areas. We also have the Sacramento Homeless Union represented here as well, or the Union of the Homeless. Yeah. So we all work together. One of the things that I've noticed that hasn't been talked about right now, we talk about all the people that are in power, all the politicians that make the bad decisions. But one of the things that we have in our own power is our power to vote. If we all get together and get all of the unhoused people and all the advocates for them to register to vote and show up to vote, we can put people in power that will support our movement. Okay? You want to stop the sweeps, stop the criminalization? You do that from within. So we need to all get ready for November and vote in the right people. We need to find people to run for office locally, because that's how people build up, and eventually we get up to the national level. We got to start somewhere. Right now in Santa Clara County, actually in Santa Clara and San Mateo County, we have 16th council district, not council, congressional district, thank you. The leader is the former mayor of San Jose, who has actually now been called out because he called for a recall because the second and third place candidates are exactly tied. The first time this has ever happened. So there's going to be a runoff in November of those three people. The number 1 and the 2 and 3, which are both second place now, are going to run off. But now the first place guy, Sam Liccardo, boo. Sam Liccardo actually is paying to have a recall done because that helps him. It eliminates one of his competition. So this is an example of how just a few people could have made a difference there. We would have had more people voting for, in my opinion, Joe Simidian, and let him be the representative. We need more people that are willing to do more for helping us. Joe Simidian set up the first RV encampment with about 80 RVs in Mountain View. We need more of those types of things because the people in RVs that are living in RVs are being swept everywhere. That's right. Everywhere. Okay, so we've got somebody, if you know anybody who lives in San Mateo or in Santa Clara County, have them vote for Joe Simidian. Okay? All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Don't be a dope, go vote.
That's true, don't be a dope, go vote. Thank you so much. Next up on the open mic, we got Arthur. Take it away. Hey everybody, I'm Arthur Bruce, coming in from Sausalito, California. This is my friends here. We represent a kind of a smaller number of houseless folks. We live on the water in boats, and they've been. Rich people don't want to look at poor people in the 4th most wealthy county in North America, and they've been pretty successful at getting rid of us. There used to be about 250. Now there's 28 of us left. 4 of them standing right here. I'll read you a little something here. We are a social enterprise that engages with situations where extreme poverty meets homelessness, mental illness, and addiction. When a neighborhood, street, or intersection earns a reputation as a bad place to avoid, we turn it around. Urban Alchemy is a peaceful and supportive presence, inviting communities to rebuild and restore a sense of pride and respect in urban spaces. Yeah, maybe we need to get out there and vote, because it's the people in here that are putting people like this in charge of our lives. And maybe our children, our grandchildren won't have to stand on these steps if we do. And it's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. So get ready. And fuck these poverty pimps in the name of Jesus.
Thank you, Arthur, the Bruce. You got to stay up here. Come on. And this is Robbie, our great activist from Nevada, California, and Kim Slater, who lives on a boat on the north side of Rainbow Bay. Rainbow Bay is another name for Richardson Bay, right off of Sausalito, California. So this issue is bigger in San Francisco, bigger in San Jose, but it exists everywhere. And one way to deal with it is to go back into our own faith traditions, whatever they are. So on the eve of the full moon, on the eve of Freedom Day, also called Passover, I'd like to do a very short prayer, somewhat modified. It goes like this: Shema Yisrael and Palestine. Let us hear Israel and Palestine. Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. The Lord is one and united. In the book of Ezekiel 47, when Ezekiel explains what Jubilee is, Jubilee means that every single family, every single person, every 50 years goes back to their family and back to their ancestral land. Everybody has an equal amount of land, and it doesn't only include the people that have documents for that land. It includes the Ger, and that means the strangers that live amongst us. This is not for any group. This is for all of us together to form one group. So thank yourselves for showing up. Thanks especially to Kevin Kiefer there, also lives on the Anchorage. Thank you everybody, activists and houseless people. And sometimes when it's a combination of both, that's the magic intersection. Shalom Aleichem and Salam Aleichem.
I'm from Vancouver, Canada. Shout out to Vancouver. So next, thank you so much. So next, from an organization called Where Do We Go in Berkeley, give it up for Andrea. Woo!
Hi everyone, it's really amazing that we can come together. I see so many warriors out here. We saw Lydia, Wood Street, the Anchorage, Poor Magazine. So many of you are the ones on the front lines. Today with Grants Pass, it was literally a case, it is a case about whether individuals who have no homes can sleep on the ground with a blanket. That's what it was about. In Sacramento, there's a case about whether the city can sweep unhoused individuals when there's extreme heat. That case is literally about shade. We are all human. We all have to sleep, breathe, eat. That's what these cases are about. And it's just wonderful to see every single one of you here. I'm a civil rights attorney. Candy Smallwood is a civil rights attorney. There's not many of us who are doing this work. And so I want to apologize in advance because many of you call on us and we're so overwhelmed. But every single one of you here can fight. And I'm so grateful that you had the courage to show up today, that you had the courage to march, because that's what we need more of. Thank you.
Next up, from UC Law, Andreas. Give it up for Andreas.
Thank you, everybody. I just wanted to be here today to sort of elevate some student voices. What we're seeing out of Columbia is really inspiring. Direct student action in honor of Palestine. But also I'm here because there is the institution that I'm a part of is part of the problem. And that law school over there is right now suing the city to do sweeps on these blocks. And that is shameful. And I am so sick and tired of watching these institutions, whether it's Mayor Breed or the Visionless people over there, sitting there and saying, well, we've tried nothing and nothing works. So I just wanted to come here today and say that today, you know, everyone's in finals, so I wasn't able to get all my students out here, but next year, we are here, we are part of it, we are gonna fight on that campus like students are fighting on Columbia, like they're fighting at Berkeley. We are not putting up with this bullshit anymore, and I am so happy to see all of you. And we have a bunch of law students, so if there's any lawyers that like need bodies or something, like, come say what's up. All right, thank you.
Hello, my name is Melody. I was born in 1958, and in 1960, at age 2, I sustained a head injury that was not diagnosed until 1997. Having a brain injury is 100% of the reason why I cannot hold down a job, and I became homeless in 2007. I am still homeless today. It's important to know that of the homeless population, 58% of the male homeless population sustained a head injury prior to becoming homeless. There are no services whatsoever for brain injury. I have been sentenced to 40 years of talk therapy. No one has helped me learn my times tables. I do not have skills of daily living, and I am still required to move for the sweeps when I don't have the skills to collect my belongings. And every day things are getting worse. I've been on the street so long, I'm having severe health problems. And I could go on and on, but thank you for listening.
Thank you, Melody. Thank you for sharing. That's really, really powerful. So, last but certainly not least, to wrap up our program, it's a pun. We have Sandra from the Young Women's Freedom Center. Give it up for Sandra! Woo!
Hi everyone, my name is Sandra. I'm from the Young Women's Freedom Center here in San Francisco. And we're here to support the fact that our homeless population, human beings, are being criminalized for being out on the streets, for trying to live, literally to live. My brother died on these streets in 2018, and he had mental health problems. All he wanted was a home. That's all he wanted was a home. We work with young people that can't even afford to get a room in this city. How can we even be able to call ourselves a city that we service everyone? We are not a city that services everyone. The gap between the haves and have-nots is growing wider every day. The housing that's coming down is not affordable. I repeat, it is not affordable. The young people that we work with, youth between the ages of 14 to 25, if you say there's jobs, show me a job that will let them have a home. Show me a job where they can rent a room, because none of these jobs in and of itself allow them to do that. And if they want to uplift themselves and go to school, how are they supposed to do that? Because they're going to have to get 2 jobs. If they go to the Housing Access Center, they'll help them with first and last rent. They'll help them for a few months. But if they don't have the job to sustain that rent, they're going to be back on the street. So this city needs to start to include everybody in their economy. You want us to survive in this city? Start to increase this minimum wage. That's a joke. Thank you very much. Support all homeless folks. Support everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra, for closing us out. Shout out to the wonderful Jome Santos for putting this together. Can we get a round of applause? Thank you to all the speakers from across the Bay Area. Thank you to everyone, Brass Liberation Orchestra. I feel like it's the end of Saturday Night Live. But thank you to everyone for coming out. This is the first of many actions where we tell the powers that be that housing is a human right. We need house keys over handcuffs, and that we'll be back. Yeah. Grab some snacks, grab some water, grab a sign, check out the mural. Shout out to our wonderful artists. Free Palestine. Thank you.
Making it in. You know what? He's gonna say. What? You know what he's gonna say.
Thank you. Do you already know Paul Bowden? Because he's hella old school, like knows everybody in town. Rap. He started the Coalition on Homelessness. Yeah. He started Homes Not Jails. He started Coalition on Homelessness. He started Community Housing Partnership.
Awesome. You know, I haven't met him personally, but I've sat in on some meetings where his name is mentioned. So no, not me personally.
He's a rock star, and he's like he knows all the poor people in town. Like you feel like you're representing them. So
that would be
and the ones who have like made the nonprofit industrial complex work for them, like Jenny. So
yeah, no, Jenny, I do know. Yeah, no, I volunteer with them. So I'm just all of you guys are actually great. Like people who give their time and energy and spirit, you know, to social justice and change. And I'm just going in what, you know, my specialty would be was like putting myself out there and making changes on, you know, on a more massive level. But no,
Hi! But it gives something back too.
Yes.
Maybe not right away, maybe not in this lifetime, but yeah, right?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jeff.
I'm Serena. Nice to meet you.
Serena, nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
SF, of course.
Yeah, no, I was just saying here, so my name is Serena Hughes and I am a mayoral candidate here in San Francisco. I am running a grassroots campaign, so I'm not taking any donations or PAC contributions, and it's grassroots. So it's me coming out here speaking with people, getting to know more about issues, about how we're falling short when we're seeing, for example, rallies and get-togethers like this where the city's not, you know, really meeting people where they're at. And this is what I would propose for people power, for diversity, equity, and inclusion. We certainly start making people uncomfortable when it comes to human dignity. And this is what I'm all about. It's like, yeah, standing up there and questioning it says, yeah, your intentions might be good, but intentions don't put a roof over somebody's head. Intentions doesn't help put food on the table. We need solid agendas and real action. So I figure by me really letting people know where I'm at is from the get-go, not collecting donations, not siding with anybody, but my allegiance is to all people of San Francisco. If you'd like more information, you can go to serenahughes.com, and there you can have my contact information, and you can text me, call me, email me, and I'd just love to hear from you. Thank you. But see, this is what you do though. This is what the indigenous people would do, the chiefs. What they would do is they would tell 100 other people their plan is. So if they got taken out, the plan keeps moving forward. The program keeps getting executed.
Make copies.
Yes, that's what they would do. They were like, we know this is what's happening. So they're like, take me out.
That's why it has to be decentralized, and that's actually the biggest lesson that we learned from the Black Panthers is that the leaders aren't going to be around for long. So it needs to be everybody included, and everybody needs to be made into a leader.
Correct. You know, we're rolling in with the new agenda. So the old is dying. They're making a lot of noise as these, you know, this punitive monopolies, this, you know, just this way of their social structures. We're creating a new one, and so it's time for a new voice because the old ideology just isn't working anymore. And we're seeing the results of it. We're seeing, you know, schools not being funded, people having less access to human dignity, and that's not okay.
Right on. You should, if you have time, go online and look up the amicus brief that Paul Bowden and a bunch of other like social justice orgs like threw in on. It's got a lot of really amazing like history of like the ugly laws and sundown towns, which Grants Pass was actually a sundown town where if you were black, brown, or Chinese, I think after sundown, like you better not be around or you'll get hanged.
Correct. I mean, as a person of color, I've still experienced it in this country, and I was told I couldn't go. I couldn't have water there. They told me I had to go elsewhere for water.
I mean,
and I was like, whoa, this
what they keep doing on Wood Street is taking away the water source.
Correct. I was like, really? Wow, that's like. In this day and age, I was shocked because this is something I hear about from relatives back in the day.
UN representatives came around to Wood Street a few years ago and saw what was going on there and how we were being denied water and stuff like that. And went back and made a report that said it was worse than the third world country.
Correct, and we're starting to see that. We know we need to align our policies and legislation with human dignity of providing water, housing. We know that the climate's changing, and this needs to be called attention to. So yeah, no, we're in for, and it's not just going to be me. It's everybody. It's bringing voices to City Hall, community voices. You having a say. I look at it as a public servant position, not a mayoral position. But I'm willing to take the responsibility if you're not happy either. I have no problem being like, if you're unhappy, let's talk about this. Where can I meet you? Like you're obviously
Everybody's happy about something, right?
True, but I think if we could please overall, and that's housing. You know, if everybody had housing, you're less than happy. You know, than if everybody has food and access to education and healthcare is good, you're less than happy about. What's going on.
I know, people always find something to be unhappy about.
We find that, when there's a lot of stress in communities, we just don't get the same thriving, we get a surviving mentality. So it weighs on people's psyches and stress and little things bother you. But I feel like when we give people rest and access to resources, we saw that during the pandemic when people had extra money in and they were housed, and we saw crime go down. We saw people's communities regather again, and people, and they said they were happier, they felt less stressed, families were coming together, and so we were building.
That's an octopus around.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, the pandemic was great for us on Wood Street. They left us the fuck alone for a couple of years.
Yeah, so it was like, and then when they started taking your basics away, people start complaining and and rightfully so, and then then you have, so it's all really tied together in a lot of ways. But yeah, and if they are, we should address it and acknowledge people if they are, and say, hey, how can we come to a great compromise? I feel like everything these days is this or this, and it should be this and this.
All right.
I think that's what's missing is the end. But thank you. You're so awesome with all your knowledge. I was like, this is where I learned so much too.
This is like my old get down. The fucked up thing is that I actually lived in a community housing partnership building 2 blocks from here. I started the tenant organization there. I sat on the board of directors for community housing partnership, and they wrongfully evicted me from that building in 2017. They were trying to evict me for a while, and then after they killed my cat, I kind of let it all fall apart. They held my mail, so I didn't get the court date. They kept everything I owned, including the title, including the title and the set of keys to my RV that I had gotten because I saw the writing on the wall. So after I got wrongfully evicted and they kept everything I owned, my RV got taken because I couldn't register it because they had taken the title.
It was all right. That's just
but the fucked up thing is Paul Bowden started community housing partnership. Like I sat on the board of it because I was trying to change things from the inside and I couldn't do it. The nonprofit industrial complex is a big part of the problem, unfortunately.
I would agree with you on that.
And ever since that, I used to run the San Francisco Drug Users Union down the street too. And I got shit canned from that job because my boss, Jeannie Little, who literally wrote the book on harm reduction, wrote the first book on harm reduction, and she runs the Harm Reduction Therapy Center down there. She's who got the San Francisco Drug Users Union funded, and she was embezzling from it, and she shit canned me because I wouldn't sign off on fraudulent reports.
Thank you. Thanks for standing up. It's not easy. It's not going to be.
I mean, it's been 12 years since I could stand up in front of City Hall and speak because I've been through all of that shit. Like I ended up, on Wood Street in an RV where I was at for 6 years until I recently finally got a subsidy voucher. But then they stuck me in, deep East Oakland, and they sent somebody to get rid of me too. Who I'm still looking over my shoulder for. I helped found Wood Street Commons. I used to run the community healing center until Caltrans sprayed me with pesticide, and I started having kidney problems, so I couldn't do that anymore. Cobblin Wood was amazing. It was almost everything that everybody needed. We had a community kitchen that we built. We had the community healing center. We had a free store where everybody in the neighborhood could get rid of the stuff that they didn't eat, and anybody in the neighborhood who needed stuff could go get it. There was a pizza oven outside. There were beautiful gardens. It was absolutely gorgeous. And Caltrans bulldozed it. Caltrans in the city bulldozed it because it was a threat. Because they don't want to solve They don't want to solve homelessness. It's too much of a cash cow from them. They're embezzling millions and millions and millions of dollars, and the fire department's in on it, the cops are in on it, the city administrators in on it, the city attorney's in on it. They're all in on the shit, and they're all putting money in their pocket.
Well, they must.
And they all want me to shut the fuck up.
Exactly, and you know, people can say, "Oh, that's a conspiracy," or but look,
it is a conspiracy.
But
Nixon coined the phrase conspiracy theory to defame the people who were talking about him being a crook.
Gaslight.
Yep, exactly.
So that's where that term came from in the first place. So yeah, it's a conspiracy.
It isn't meant to be
It is.
a profession,
but it's not a theory because we see the evidence.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's a conspiracy reality.
Right. Oh, I like that. Yes.